Okay, so this is gonna be just converting Overwatch PBR to Source Engine for Source Filmmaker. I'm using Blender, but you can use any 3D program that you really want to, because on the material level, which is where most of the work comes in, it's all the same. So I'm gonna assume that you already know how to extract Overwatch models. So in my case, I am going to go with Winston's Tesla cannon. So we're just gonna import that real quick. And just fiddle around with it until, weight normals and all that fun stuff. Okay. So I'm not gonna go into like renaming most of the bones, right, all of that, because it's just focusing on materials. So what you want to do is we're gonna be abusing mesh stacking and custom hero, two things that work kind of wonky in Source Filmmaker, so we can use that to get an effect that we're looking for. So what you want to do is select your meshes, anything that is not transparent and doesn't have flesh. So basically, in this gun's case, that's everything except the decals, because the decals are transparent. If this is a character, you wouldn't choose any skin, glasses, anything that's slightly transparent. None of that. Just strictly metal and non-metal. So we're going to go ahead with this gun, and we're just going to assign some materials to this. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and name this mesh. We're just going to call it Winston Tesla Cannon. And we're going to call this material whatever you like. But now we're going to take that mesh and we're going to duplicate it 2 times, so you have 3 meshes that are all exactly the same. You can name these whatever you want, but make sure you give each of these a different material. I recommend just going with what I'm going with because it's easy to remember. Okay. So now that we have our 3 separate materials defined, each on a different mesh, and remember these are all the same, we are going to take all of those and export them as SMD. If you want, you can like condense them into one like I'm doing right here, but it's really up to you. I've already written my QC here, so I'm just referring back to that. Right here we have the decal, so we'll just call that decals, I guess. And we can just call that Canon decal. Alright. So we are exporting 3 identical meshes, each one with a different material, and then anything else that you need to. Alright, so here's my QC file. It's really just me referring to each SMD that I've written. So since I exported my 3 identical meshes as one SMD, that's just right there. If you did it separately, you'd have to reference all of them. And if I go and compile this real quick, looks like one of my friends is doing some cool music stuff. I should check that out later. We're just gonna go ahead and compile this. And if you take a look in our model viewer, obviously it's not textured or anything because we haven't set that up. But we know that's in there and it's working. We can see that we have our SMDs and all our materials are referenced here. Speaking of materials, let's go on to the textures. This is easily the most confusing part. I'm going to try my best to explain, but I am also pretty bad at that too. Alright, so we're just going to grab all these textures here and let's go over each one. This is your normal map, pretty self-explanatory. It just it basically tells the engine, hey, this should be this high or whatever. Gonna save this as a target. This is your self-illumination. Again, self-explanatory, use self-illum with this. Over here is your, this is your mask. So in each layer, you have your different things, roughness and metalness, specular stuff. And then over here is your diffuse, which is just your like colors and stuff, real basic. So open these up and let's edit them. Alright, let's start with the simple stuff. Self-illumination, real easy, just create an alpha channel for that, and make sure that is white, and you're good to go. I'm just calling that I for illumination. That was already a render. Alright, let's go on with the normal map. So usually with Overwatch, these are actually going to be inverted. If you go to anything that's vaguely round, you see this red highlight here that's on the bottom right. That should be on the top right with the green following it clockwise. So to fix this, all we gotta do is go into green channel, invert, voila. And let's add an alpha channel while we're at it, because we're gonna need that later. Alright, here we go. This is mask. This is where we start getting real tough. Or actually just confusing, it's not hard. So you have your red channel, which is your metalness, and your green and blue are pretty much the same, and this is your roughness. We're gonna take our green, we're gonna copy it, and we're just gonna paste it right here. Anytime that you take something from a channel and then paste it as a new layer, you'll want to paste it, that same selection into all three channels of that layer. There's our roughness. We're going to do the same thing, grab our metalness, which is the red channel of our original, paste it on top, and we are just going to paste that on top right there. Alright, now I'm going to start referring to these by layer numbers now, so it's easier for me that way. So we're going to take layer 2, and we're just going to copy it into layer 3, and we're going to add a posterize adjustment. We want to make everything as kind of like these flat blocks of color as possible, and we don't want any of these like artifacts. So this one, most of this is actually just kind of eyeballing. I am probably just going to go with 11 or 13. I think that both of these are pretty much the same, so we'll just go with this, 15, alright. And we're going to copy this twice more, so that's layer 4 and 5. You can actually go ahead and delete layer 4, that's my bad, sorry. Layer 5, we are going to add a levels adjustment, and in this first input, we're adding a 128, something like that. You just want to make it real dark. Lots of contrast. And we're going to copy that one more time for layer 6. We're going to add a curves adjustment to this. I happen to have a preset because we're going to be using this one curves adjustment for the entire time. So if you make a preset, it's a lot easier. Doesn't have to be exact, just kind of copy this whole thing. We'll add that there. And now we're going to take layer 6, copy the whole thing, and paste it on top of our diffuse and invert it. Back to our mask, what we're going to do is take layer 1 and copy that twice so that we have layers 8 and 7. We're going to take layer 7, make a copy of layer 6. Discord. Nice. Duplicate layer. We're going to put that on top. What we're going to do is we're going to set this to multiply and then invert it. Over here on layer 7, we're going to add another level adjustment. And this time you're going to, sorry, no, not a levels. Curves, sorry about that. Layer 7 gets a curve adjustment. Take your layer 6 copy, remember this multiplied and inverted, and we're just going to merge that down. So layer 7 should be this kind of dark texture here. Layer 8, we're going to add a levels, and we're just going to make this lighter. Like, yeah, about there-ish, sure, why not. Make another copy of layer 6. That goes right on top. And this one just multiplies and merges down. Alrighty. So layer 8, and layer 7 are both your speculars. One is for metals, one is for non-metals. I forget which one is which, I'm sorry. Alright, so over here in layer 8, we're going to take your green channel, well, actually any channel you want. Copy that and paste it into the alpha channel of your normal. Remember we made that a while ago? Yeah. Just paste that in there, and you are good to save that as Winston Tesla Canon N. Once that's saved, you're actually done with the normal map, so you can just quit out of that. Back to the mask, we're gonna take layer 7, copy and paste the channel into the alpha, and now we're gonna go all the way back down to layer 1, our roughness. Make a copy of that, that's layer 9, and we're just gonna fill both our green and blue channels with white. These are our exponents. Make sure you have your alpha, and export that as Winston to the Canon E for exponent. Alright, we are almost done. Layer 1 is going to be copied the whole thing and paste it on top of your diffuse. Next we are going to apply a levels adjustment. This one we are going to bring this right output all really dark down. Like that. We're going to invert it, multiply it, and merge it down. Alright. Over here, we're going to take the alpha. Your alpha channel is your ambient occlusion texture. If you don't have an ambient occlusion texture in your alpha, that usually means that it is a separate file, in which case you just like paste it in here or whatever. But anyway, you're taking your ambient occlusion, copying that, and pasting that on top, and just making a copy of that. Actually, I broke my own rule. Remember, whenever we copy a channel and paste it as a new layer, we paste that into each channel. Alright, now we can make that copy. So original ambient occlusion, we're multiplying that down, merging it, and we're taking any channel and just pasting that into the alpha. So once we paste that into the alpha, we invert it. This is our paint mask. Now we're going to take our ambient occlusion, any channel from here, and we are almost done. Take layer 8, just make a copy of that, paste your ambient occlusion on top, multiply that, merge it down, and take your blue channel and fill it with black. You're going to get this kind of yellowish texture. That is your CH, your custom hero. So you can save that as Winston Tesla Canon CH. Nice. And back at the diffuse, you're done with mask. You can clear out of that once you save your CH. Back at your diffuse, just hide all your layers. So it looks like nothing ever changed except for your alpha channel. And save that as your diffuse. Okay. So now that that's done, that entire nightmare, those are your textures, and we're just gonna start copying them over and writing our materials. So make sure that those are all exactly where you need them to be. I can't spell. I don't need any of that. And I just happen to have some materials that I've already written, that I just recycle all the time. So I'll just get into that right now. So you're just gonna rename these so that they match materials. And then we're gonna start working on a file path. Make sure those file paths match up, whatever you're gonna call your textures. So that's your diffuse material. I'll just leave that up there. Your D2. Oh yeah, if you're wondering what Cube Metal Gray is, it is a cube map that Blue Flag Trap uses. Pretty often you'll find it in his Gravity Gun, I believe his Crowbar upload on the workshop as well. They're really nice looking, real subtle, really shiny, if used right. So there's your D, there's your D2, and here's the CH. Alright. So I'm just gonna go and start importing our textures. So let's just navigate over to Winston again. We're gonna start off with illumination, and we're just gonna save your self-illum as an I8. And we're just gonna save that right there. Alright. Speaking of self-illumination, if you have it, you are actually gonna need more lines for that. I happen to have them right here. Let me paste those in there. Sorry about that. There. So, if you don't have self-illum, you should probably take those lines out because they're not gonna help at all. Anyway, back to importing textures. We're done with Loom. So now the rest of these get saved in as BGRA 8888. Let me just go ahead and get all of this. That's your custom hero, diffuse, exponent, and normal. I'm not going to pretend I know how everything works in this method. It just does. Alright, so there's materials, and hopefully if we reload, this should work. Nice. So you can see your metals are actually kind of black. That is because of the way this method works. You need good lighting. That's all I can say. You need good lighting. We might as well knock out these decals too, because they're real simple. Sometimes they'll have normal maps and all that fun stuff, but in our case, they are just a alpha and some colors. Just save that as decal color. And we're going to save this as decal alpha. Take a look. Alright, I get the feeling we are going to have to resize our color a bit. Yeah, okay. No problem. There we go. Just take your alpha, put it in your alpha channel. Have your colors on top. And we're just going to save that as... what do we call it? Tesla Cannon decal. Right. Tesla Cannon decal. TTA, make sure you have your alpha. That's super important. Gonna bring that over. And you could really just write your QC right here, actually. Let me just copy this file path first. I'm just gonna go with vertex lit generic. Base texture. This is just where you're gonna put your decal texture. And translucent is gonna be on since we have our alpha. If we had normal maps and all that stuff, it'd be a lot more complicated, but we got lucky. We're not doing that. So yeah. We want to save our texture, once again, BGRA. And if we just reload our materials here, there we go. There's our decals. Nice. I'm just gonna go ahead and launch Source Filmmaker. Maybe it'll load with a decent load time. Maybe, not sure. We'll just see what happens. Amazing, thank you. God bless. You can see there are some like little artifacts around here. That's because I'm kind of rushing through this. You want to be kind of precise with those, but once it's lit up, it won't look that bad, trust me. Just gonna go in and bring in our model. Let's just get that as a point of reference. That's where all my lights are. about there. Right about there. Okay. Just fuck around with some settings. Alright, there we go, there we go. Turn on our lights. And I'm gonna say that looks actually pretty nice. Here's some other weapons that I've applied the PBR to. Nobody likes Twerp. I'm sorry you had to see that. Jeez. I do not remember which one is updated. Well, that's fine. I mean, you get the idea. Use PBR. Make sure you have good lights. Like, I am actually using, like, 8 of these, and that is still, like, a minimum. Hopefully this helped you out. And if you have any questions, just please let me know. I'll try my best, but I'm not the best at this either.